The Colts are faced with a decision as it relates to quarterback Daniel Jones. They signed him to a one-year, $14 million deal last year, lured him away from the Minnesota Vikings, made him believe, and they were telling the truth, that he had a chance to compete with Anthony Richardson and become the starting quarterback, and he did. Was having a great year until he had the Achilles tendon injury, which may have been weakened as a result of the stress fracture he was playing with in the other foot. So the franchise tag's available. We were talking about this last night. It's 2023 all over again because they've got Alec Pierce and Daniel Jones, and they would presumably like to, as the Giants wanted to do in 23, tag one guy, sign the other to a long-term deal. And what the Giants wanted to do with Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones was sign Saquon Barkley to a long-term deal, tag Daniel Jones, and buy some time to see whether or not he was the guy. But they couldn't get the deal done with Barkley, so they tagged him and they signed Jones. Now, the Colts, they got Alec Pierce, who underrated and has the potential to be a number one receiver.
I really like Alec Pierce, yeah.
And they've got Jones, and I think they're trying to figure out, can we tag one, can we sign the other? And would they actually apply the franchise tag to Daniel Jones coming off the Achilles tendon after a $14 million contract last year? Like, you have to be concerned there's going to be another team that's going to swoop in. And I don't know, maybe the Vikings swing back around and say, hey, come on, come do for us what you did for the Colts. But the guy's had multiple serious injuries, and he's coming off a torn Achilles tendon. I don't know. I mean, what are you going to pay him? $40 million? I mean, what are you going to pay Daniel Jones if he's available? That's why I'm surprised by the possibility of the franchise tag, because I don't know if there's going to be a land rush for Daniel Jones.
Well, I don't know if there would be a land rush for him, but I think that there would be a market for him. I mean, he's still a quarterback. He's still on the younger side-ish, right? Even with the serious leg injuries. It's not like we're talking about somebody who hasn't done anything in a while, right? I mean, I think he was playing at a pretty darn high level, especially before the fracture. And some of that definitely has to do with the way Jonathan Taylor was also playing. But I think if you look at the way he was commanding that offense, the way he came in, he took the job from Anthony Richardson. This is not somebody that you're just going to say, okay, he's a nothing quarterback. I think the Colts would be the best option for him, but if there are other teams on the market, say the Vikings, which would make the most sense otherwise, then it's not like the Colts are just completely bidding against themselves in this kind of race for a Daniel Jones.
But consider this. And I'm stunned to see the number, because we've been talking about $28 million for George Pickens for the past 45 minutes. The franchise tag for quarterbacks this year is projected to be $47.3. So are you going to pay Daniel Jones $47.3? Is he getting $47.3 on the open market? No. What did Sam Darnold get last year? He got 30.
Yeah.
Well, he got $100.5 million on a 3-year deal. So it's like $33.5.
Yes.
If my math is correct. And it rarely is. So, 47. I mean, he's not Daniel Jones.
No.
Damaged goods Daniel Jones isn't getting $40 million on the open market. I mean, I'm not saying that's his nickname. He's currently damaged goods because of the torn Achilles tendon. Although damaged goods Daniel Jones does have a ring to it. But Charean, I'm just stunned that there's even a possibility to apply the franchise tag to him.
I agree. $47 million for the exclusive tag. $40 million for the transition tag, if you want to go that way.
Well, non-exclusive as well.
Yes.
I mean, transition tag just gives you a right to match. But the franchise tag itself, non-exclusive franchise tag is 47.
47,
yeah.
Correct. I don't know that I want to pay him that. I really don't. And so I think at this point you try to get him signed to a long-term deal. The problem, Mike, is when I did that top 100, you look at the quarterback. There's no quarterbacks. If you don't have a quarterback right now, who are you going to get? There's Daniel Jones, there's Malik Willis, there's Russell Wilson, there's Marcus Mariota. And the draft doesn't look that great either, especially if you don't have a top pick. So who are you getting? Are you going to go trade for Kyler Murray? Are you going to wait for Kirk Cousins to become available? Who's going to be your
Jones?
Kirk Cousins will be cut March 11 or 12.
Correct.
So he's in the mix. Mike McCartney, his agent, is going to be here talking to people about what his next step
Correct.
is.
Yeah. And maybe you make a trade for Mac Jones, but there's just not that many guys out there if you don't have a starting quarterback right now. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Wow, you put Malik Willis at 10. I saw NFL.com had him at number 1. We're gonna have to maybe find the person that did the NFL top 100 and have a little debate. Maybe a little arm wrestling.
Okay.
Let's see who's right.
Let's do it.
Depending upon who it is at NFL Network, I maybe put my money on Charean.
I'll take them down.
But it is interesting. I mean, when you look at just the quarterbacks that are available, right? As you're saying, Charean, that's not a particularly impressive list. If you are a team that has a need at quarterback, you don't have a lot of great options. So and that is why, you then, okay, price of the brick goes up for a Daniel Jones. I mean, because of the way that the market is right now, it's not favorable. So, like, even if you're, say, the Browns, right, what do you do? Do you go after a trade for a Kyler Murray? Do you try to roll the dice with the Shadur Sanders or talk about damaged goods, Deshaun Watson, right? I mean, none of those appear to be particularly great options. And then there also aren't that many great options in the draft either. So it's like, this is not a great year to need a quarterback, which then is why the Colts are kind of in that position with Daniel Jones, where Daniel Jones is, hey, if you want me, you're going to have to really show it.
If Daniel Jones gets tagged, what does that mean for Malik Willis? I mean, if the Colts tell the world we're paying this guy $47.3 to keep him off the market, Malik Willis is one of the most intriguing free agent quarterbacks I can ever remember because he's got a very limited sample size. But every time he's played the last 2 years, he's been spectacular. Passer rating is over 134, 6 touchdown passes, no interceptions. He's got 3 rushing touchdowns on top of it. Again, this is in 6 games. Completion percentage north of 75, yards per attempt over 10. He's been unstoppable. He's just played 6 games, and he got injured during one of the games. So I think somebody is going to be lurking, and if you get multiple teams involved, like there's a big range out there for starting quarterback pay. It was 10.5 last year for Russell Wilson, all the way up to 60 if we ignore the new money analysis on the Josh Allen contract, which would actually be close to 80. But let's just say 10 to 60. Where Malik Willis is going to land, I don't know. Where Daniel Jones is going to land, I don't know. But this idea of 47.3 under the franchise tag for Daniel Jones, it's stunning to me that the Colts would even consider it.
Well, it's the way you can talk about the way the cap goes up every year too, right? I mean, what that is relative to what the cap will be in 2026 is different than what $47.3 million would be relative to the cap in 2025, let alone in 2024, right? I mean, so all these things, like that's what you have to balance and weigh, and somehow figure out how to build your team.
I think you mentioned the transition tag, Charean. I think that would make sense if you're going to go that far. I think 40 is enough to scare a team away from an offer sheet. If they're going to have to, if they're going to have to sign him to an offer sheet that gets him to trade in the $40 million bird in the hand, I think that works, and it saves you $7 million.
Yeah, and if you don't have Daniel Jones, Mike, who's going to be your quarterback? You have Anthony Richardson and Riley Leonard. Are you going with one of those guys as your quarterback? We've seen, I think, probably enough of Anthony Richardson. I have anyway. To say he's not going to be your quarterback. So then what do you do at the quarterback position if it's not Daniel Jones? I think that's what they're looking at right now. If we don't have Daniel Jones, who's our quarterback? We still got to go out and find a quarterback.
Phillip Rivers.
Well, and here's the problem. If they do the transition tag with Daniel Jones and somebody comes in and makes him an offer, by the time that all shakes out, all the other guys that you may have pursued are going to be elsewhere. Kirk Cousins is going to have signed. Malik Willis will have signed. They're all going to be gone. You're going to be looking at the second and third tier options, unless you can convince a guy to wait around and see how Daniel Jones plays out. But I think if they would do the transition tag, they're not. There is a huge risk in paying a significant contract to a guy who is coming off of a torn Achilles tendon. Even if he's 100%. It takes look at Kirk Cousins.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yep.
And
it takes 2 years.
He finally got back to what I think is a high level of performance when he was pressed into service after Michael Penix Jr. suffered the torn ACL. Last year, he wasn't good enough. Last year, he was still recovering from that injury. And you've got the possibility there's going to be more because he's had multiple season-ending injuries. At some point, At some point, you just have to accept this is who he is. He's going to be 29 in May. He can play really well when healthy, but he has an issue with staying healthy, just like Tua, just like others. Like, at a certain point, it becomes part of who you are. And I know we talked about this a lot yesterday in the context of Rondale Moore. We need to be more sensitive to what these guys go through when they get injured and the pain and the difficulty of recovery and rehab. It's a real thing. But at the quarterback position, especially where the rules are slanted in the direction of keeping you upright, the great quarterbacks, now I know Patrick Mahomes tore an ACL and Josh Allen had foot surgery, but the great quarterbacks are there.
They're available.
They're available. And Daniel Jones has a history, like Tua, like others have not. It just makes it a more delicate question for the Colts to figure out the right spot for Daniel Jones financially. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.